Demello Offroad bumper for the Tundra with the Baja loop and light bars and fogs and all that kind of bullshit. So today we're going to put this on a 2014 Tundra. Let's go. Step one. The S8 Baja Designs light bar comes with these two mounting tabs, which you could use like this or like this, but you don't need them because the Demello bumper already has tabs that bolt directly into this piece right here. So you don't need the tab itself, but you do need this bolt. However, this washer that's supplied is a little too small and gets sucked into the metal tab, so I suggest replacing it with something a little bit fatter like this. All right, there's the light bar installed. Fits in very nicely. On the back side, you can see the tabs here that the light bar bolts directly into. And that bolt's pretty easily accessed with either a wrench right through here, or you can put a socket on it right through there. If you use the supplied hardware that Baja Designs gives you with these fog lamps, it would end up meaning that you'd mount this bracket onto the tab directly, and the fog light will actually sit too low in the bottom of the hole. To be centered in the hole, it needs to be raised up just a little bit, and Demello was nice enough to include some hardware that does just that. Very minor point here, but I'd recommend putting another metal washer below this spacer so it doesn't get sucked into this tab and either deform it or break it. So I just stuck another little one on there, and I think that'll make it a lot more secure, a lot more better. So these are 3-inch lights, which fit pretty well centered in there. They do sit back a little ways. So if you had a 4-inch round light, I guess it'd fill that space a little bit better. But with the spacer, it lifts it up a little bit. And honestly, yeah, I don't think it looks that bad at all. All right, finished up putting in all your lights and whatever else accessories you want to mount up on here. I guess you could put the winch on. I'm not doing that right now. I'll probably do it later. But after you get everything all set, I just tucked the wires up here into the sides out of the way for now, and then we're going to start putting this thing onto the truck. I'm not going to go through the whole process of how to remove the bumper. There's plenty of videos on YouTube, but the short synopsis is you remove these 3 bolts that are up here, you pop out the plastic pin here and here, and then you pull out this thing, which has a couple of tabs in each corner. Pretty simple. To drop the bumper off, there's 4 14mm bolts on either side. So pull those off and the bumper should pop right out. And then take off your tow hooks, which is 2 17mm bolts on each side. And those will come right out. This is the supplied hardware that Demello provides. There's 4 bolts that are all the same size. Those will go back into where your factory tow points were. And then there's these square cut washers. You'll pair those up with the long john bolts on the left to help secure the supporting bracket. This bumper is not that heavy, so I was able to lift it into place and then get it seated on these bolts that stick out. And what I did is just reach down by hand and screwed on this top one on the left, one on the right. That'll hold it into place. Now you're gonna have to back those out. You can't tighten them down all the way because you're gonna put another plate over the top. So what you wanna do is get this bolt, the 4th one, that's kind of off by itself, and tighten that one up. So for that, you just need a long extension, and it'll go through this hole, and it's pretty easy to do with the ratchet. So this bracket right here is what's going to go over the top. So these 3 slots will slide over those 3 bolts right there. These 2 holes with the provided hardware, you'll go back into where the stock towing points were. And then there's one other bolt that's provided that goes into this piece. But to get there, we've got to pull off these plastic caps right here. With a screwdriver or something, it's pretty easy to pop these things out. Mine were pretty old and brittle, and so they kind of busted. But that's all right, we're not going to need them. With the bracket in place, and slide this bolt through that hole. The back side of that bolt comes out just above the sway bar right here. And you can see that the hole it comes through is pretty big, and it's really too big for the washer. So what we're gonna do is take this provided plate, put it over the top of that thing to help give it some stability. Washer over the top of that. And then your bolt. Then these two bolts go right through there. Once you've got everything into place and most of the way tightened, there is a little bit of adjustability if you need to move stuff around, but honestly I found that I just put this thing into place, tightened everything down, and it sits perfectly with the rest of the bumper and the grille. So I'd tighten down these 3 bolts first, and don't forget the one that you access through that hole. Once those are all tight, I'd tighten up these and then do this big boy in the back as the last one, and you're good to go. The fitment on this thing is pretty much perfect. So you can see very even gap all the way across. Looks really good. Sticks out just about how you'd want it. There's a little bit of a lip right here, and then plenty of room around this bar. So super psyched with how this turned out. Looks perfect in my opinion. And yeah, I can't wait to go hit some rhinos somewhere.